LPT. A lot of people give good advices to people, but they rarely look at themselves from a third point of view. If you're ever feeling down, try giving yourself a therapy session. Treat yourself like you're someone you're responsible for. Because you are. And stop lying to yourself. You're not that awesome or that terrible. You're average. Figure out how to enhance your strengths so you can contribute to each day in a way you find meaningful. Oh damn, I needed to hear that actually. Real LPT, you aren't qualified to be your own therapist. You can end up digging that hole deeper. Trust me. Get professional help if you're fortunate enough to have access to it. Edit. Wow. Apparently this is controversial. Your doctor goes to another doctor. Your lawyer hires another lawyer. So, if you have zero training to be a licensed therapist, sorry, do some research about therapy. Understand that I'm not questioning your self-awareness or intent to become a better person. I'm saying, you, like all people who have ever existed, cannot and do not have to fight mental illness alone. Therapists are professionals, and if you think you can do their job, you grossly misunderstand what it is. What I believe op meant, and I would support, is be open and honest with yourself. Make an effort to process things in the healthiest way you can imagine. But please remember that trying to fix yourself with only your thoughts and experiences is like trying to solve a murder with the testimony of only one witness. You might be able to paint a pretty convincing picture of the problem. Maybe even enough to convince yourself that it actually exists/is prevalent. But there's a reason we don't draw conclusions from such limited perspective. I didn't say to just be your own therapist. You can view this more as a meditation method that helps bring a different light or perspective to your problems. Not sure how you can dig the hole even deeper as you put it. Exactly. You aren't sure how you can dig the hole deeper. I don't blame you for that. Because you probably aren't a licensed therapist. Neither am I. But, imagine someone is severely depressed. They truly hate themselves. Should they take your advice? Should they trust their own judgments they make about themselves? And make permanent changes to their lives based on those judgments? What if people are too harsh on themselves? Not harsh enough? What if they make excuses for themselves? For others, people shut themselves away from the world. Retreat to fantasy. We aren't meant to be our own support system. It's a large part of the reason we are social animals. As a great mad scientist once said, it's like asking a horse to fix a merry-go-round. He can try his best but, mostly, has just gonna be horrified. Apostrophe. This actually worked. I'm going to stop moping around and get on with the day. Bloody anxiety can go do one. I'll start by closing down Reddit app. Like an actual therapy session. This is one of the methods to calm yourself even a little bit. There is no method that can automatically kill or get rid of your depressed self. I'm just encouraging people to talk themselves more, especially when there's such a negative stigma towards doing so. Yes to this, my tactics were similar. A few years ago I was having dating/relationship stress and I recorded a voice memo to myself, as if I was phoning into the Savage Lovecast. I'd listen back to it and try to imagine what Dan Savage would say. Or what my immediate thoughts would be if I'd heard that call on the podcast myself, because we always have opinions about other people's conflicts, and it really helped me see things a lot clearer. I generally agree with his advice, so I'd find it easier to see my problems objectively and figure out if I was overthinking stuff or if I was making excuses for crap behavior. Thanks, I came to the comments to see if there were any practical tips for how to do this. I love your idea. You're welcome. Good luck. Take some hallucinogenics. That'll surely help get the therapy session feeling without being in a therapy room. Shrooms are a legit means of doing just that for many people with issues and depression. I can't count the times I've given a friend advice that I myself needed to hear just as much. It's so much easier when you're on the other side of the fence. Treat your soul like you'd treat your best friend. Over all these years, I've discovered that it's the key to being at peace with oneself. Be kind to yourself. Love yourself like your life depends on it. Book, read it, check in with yourself, and ask what needs do I have that aren't being met. Take time to meet your needs. Treat yourself like you are someone you are responsible for helping. No. This is why I have a therapist. At one point I would drink alone in front of a mirror and pretend to have a conversation with the inner me. I never felt alone. Did your drunk self manage to give you any good advice? Actually yes. It was decided to go out and mingle. I just want to say talking with yourself about a specific problem isn't the same as getting rid of the problem. Just as therapy isn't like a gun used to get rid of the problem. It's just a method of alleviating some stress and helping you find different methods to coping. Shit, that really hit home. Gives people good advice, doesn't follow own advice. Why is my life so shitty? A few years ago I realized if my worst enemy called me in the middle of the night in a crisis and needed something I did not have much of, I would be kinder to them than I'm to myself in my own head. I set out to fix this inner voice, to at least be less mean, if not kind, and even the effort has led to much better mental health. I still find myself beating myself up for mistakes in the past, but I've stopped being driven by regret/remorse/dread. Meditation and CBT have been very helpful if anyone is in the same boat. Excellent LPT. I'm glad you're feeling a lot better. Close bracket. I can totally relate to this, but I can't seem to do it effectively used, even when I know that my self-dialogue is not helping, or even if it is harmful. If you're at a situation where, if a friend were to come up to you, and you wouldn't know what to say to them, even if they look disheveled and ill, then at that point, I highly recommend you seek professional help. IDKY, but I first read it as food advice. Lol, honestly eating food helps the brain work, so I guess they do indirectly give good advice. I think I do, but I'm not able to confirm that. I can't give myself advice, since my mind makes up so much problems to my solutions. Then when it comes to a conclusion, there's always a backup plan, meaning the OG plan is unsure. Close bracket. Instead of thinking about solutions to your problems, try thinking of your problem as another person, and that person is coming to you for help. Obviously you wouldn't give him more problems than he already has, so what would your first advice to him be? Also, try questioning why he feels this way, and what caused this to happen etc. so you can get the whole backstory from your friend. And OFC, seek professional help if you truly do feel swamped to the point where your problem seems to be Hydra heads. Stay safe. Close bracket. I already know the answers to my problems, it's just that the answers are extremely difficult to implement, and there's really nothing I can do, so I'm resigned to suffer for the rest of my days. What do you say to that? Armchair therapists, exactly. There's nothing you can say to change reality. I'm my own therapist. I think to myself, what advice would you give to someone else with the same problems? Works most of the times, but sometimes it feels like my advice is falling on deaf ears. I have learned asking good questions is very helpful, especially asking yourself good questions. It really helps organize thoughts and figure things out. It also will improve one's critical thinking skills over time. And lots of people that like to give good advice lead some of the worst examples on how to go through life that I've ever seen. At least that seems to be the case on Facebook. It's like when I'm in a high or dangerous place and the little voice in my head says just do it. My tip is always remove names from the situation, because then it can sound like someone else's problem. So instead of Susan upset me again today, but maybe I'm being too sensitive, it can become my colleague has once again upset me. Maybe I should talk to her about it. I recently learned that this behavior, wiser about other people's problem, was researched and coined the name Solomon Paradox by Gore Grossman in 2015. You can read more here. It's pretty neat. Link. Psychology quotients. org/news/we're only human/ the paradoxical wisdom of Solomon. HTML. This is perfect for explaining my tip, haha. Thanks for sharing. You can't fix a broken mind with a broken mind. For me, it's generally best to get outside advice if I have concerns. What terrible advice. I already suspect I'm a worthless pile of crap. The last thing I need is someone, even myself, confirming this. Don't worry. U/Tamagogahan 13,919,825. I understood what you meant. Being able to step back and take an unbiased look at a situation is a true life skill. One of the ways you can get someone to do this is to ask what would you advise a friend in your same situation. Frequently the advice they give is different than the actions they themselves take. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.